You know, we were the two leaders of this gang. We obviously respected each other. Our characters respected each other, but they feared each other as well.
Getting involved in this film and doing this film was a huge part of, I mean, really my childhood, my growing up.
It's a symbolic story, immigrant for change, for ambition.
I don't think there's ever been a movie done that meticulous to detail with that kind of uniqueness. I mean, there's no other films like it.
How could so many people like a film and yet we're still not stars? How's it going there?
All right.
A little gray, a little thinner?
A little gray, a little thinner,
Yeah.
a little less, but definitely red. Okay, this is Scott Tyler, the Noodles, and
Rusty Jacobs, Max.
And we are on the spot. Once Upon a Time in America, and the zip code is
11211. That's a cool code.
That is a cool code.
I know you go around telling people you did a makeout scene with Jennifer Connelly. But I think we should all just tell them right now she was 13. She was not the Jennifer Connelly we know now.
Oh my God, this is it. This is where we were leaning against the building.
Like, where doesn't the cop, Whitey, come out?
That's it. That's where he comes out.
And the empty line.
And look, they still have Gabila's Knishes. This is the original Gabila's Knishes, which is very well featured in the movie. I think this building, Rust, was where the lot was. Because we were leaning against this wall. The very first time in the movie that we meet is me and the other guys are here, and we're planning this robbery to rip this drunk off. It's almost unheard of that a director spends 11 years conceptualizing a film and not making any other movies in the interim. This movie was so in his blood, so in his conscious, so in his subconscious. He understood every element of it, the way he wanted every line to be said, and there's a depth to it that he gained over those 11 years that make the film, I think, the special magic that it is. Sergio had a love of New York. When Sergio was here, he owned this street. I mean, the work that they put in, the art directors, the designers, these guys were working, 24 hours a day transforming this place.
The setting of New York to me was as important, if not more important, than anything else going on. The horse and buggies, the old cars, the costumes. The streets were teeming with people, with street vendors. There was no problem believing that I was in that period at that time in New York. Do you remember that half of what we did here had to be recreated in Italy?
Yes.
The buildings that we used as exteriors here in Brooklyn were actual buildings with residents. So they had to recreate all these streets in an empty lot in Italy. I don't think they called it Dumbo back then. I don't think they called it anything. I don't think anybody was hanging out here.
That's right. Now there are bars, there's cafes. Look at this. There's people here. Hello. Hello. How are you?
This rings a bell. I remember these cobblestones like it was yesterday. Hey, now what do you notice about this?
It's like it takes me right back to Once Upon a Time in America. It was sort of like
right before it gets all dramatic.
Okay, so the mole.
I always thought the mole was really yours.
So they had, you remember the old button candies that came out on a white strip? That's what they had like with moles. Different sizes.
Different shades of brown.
Different shades, sizes, and they just all day long.
Chocolatey, mocha.
Boom. And 5 guys, including Sergio, standing around.
Check out your mole. Did you think, if this mole doesn't make it, I'm out of the picture? Like, please,
I thought the mole was more important than I was.
Please, mole work. All right, this is amazing. Because this, I can see it all. There's a loading dock there. Yeah. What they did was they put crates. They stacked crates like it was this very active loading dock scene.
What went on here was the turning point in Once Upon a Time in America. Our little Dominic runs ahead and he comes right up into, behind that thing, the evil Bugsy, who's the thug, who's the one who's been trying to wipe us out throughout the whole movie. And now there's his big chance.
And then what do we hear?
Bugsy's coming! Run!
And it was that pan flute Zamfir right on cue.
The main person here is the little Dominic, who's running, and Bugsy shoots him, and he goes down. Probably about right here. I run out, and I grab him, and I pull him over. And I hold him, and he says... Noodles, I slipped.
and Bugsy's looking, and he's checking through every little opening, right? And he gets it, and then you jump out and you get him. And then the cops come from around the corner. They're mounted police, and one guy gets you, and you turn and you give it to him.
And I give it to him. When the guy comes and clubs me over the head, it was hurting.
I was laughing.
Bam!
It was hilarious.
Bam!
Bam! Another one.
Bam!
Another one.
And it was like, there's always something goes wrong with the camera. There's, there's a fly in the gate, or a hair in the gate, or a lighting, focus.
I kept throwing pebbles that would interrupt things so you could get smashed again. Boom. Boom. I'm just kidding about that.
We really had a gift because, I mean, how many movies when you're 14 years old do you get an hour of screen time?
For the time that we were on that set, I had no doubt that we were two street-smart, tough kids in 1918 New York.
The movie's an epic. This day has been kind of an epic, going to all these different places. This is a part of my life that I'll never forget. It was a great moment, and it's really cool that people still go back to it. I think with all the films that are out, and the millions and millions of movies, I feel honored to be a part of something that people still remember. It's a cool thing.